Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?
Well, hey, are you listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel. I'm here with my good friend Brandon, and we connected over a mutual love of some specific artists, but also have kind of different tastes. And so we get to experience new stuff from each other and sometimes invite some friends along for the journey. But today, Brandon, it's me and you.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. We're recording on a Monday, and so Mondays are Mondays. But I think out of all the Mondays that I've experienced in this life, this one's been a good one.
I feel like this one's been so long.
You think so? Mondays are like our busy days at church, meetings and all kinds of stuff. But I don't know. I'm just leaving today feeling energized and excited. So
That's good.
yeah. Sorry, it's not true for you. I'm just kidding. Oh, well, today we are talking about an album, Brandon, that this at least this artist is big for you. And I'm kind of surprised that we've made it this far. We're almost a year into this podcast. And we haven't yet talked about TobyMac, at least covering a record before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting to cover him. I feel like there's a lot of people listening that Toby's one of those artists that I don't know how you can listen to Christian music and not have like experience like his music in some form.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But we're going to be looking at his album, Welcome to Diversity, today, which will be fun. But before we get into that, let's check the mail.
Check the mail. Check the mail. Who, what, when, how, why? Check the mail.
All right, well, our mail today comes from friend of the show and past guest, Mr. Chris Mims. He asked this question. There's been many supergroups over the years in secular music, including Cream, the Traveling Wilburys, and the Highwaymen. Do you know anything about any of those bands, Brandon?
Oh, the Highwaymen. I know them. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I know 2 songs.
He said, only ones I can think of in Christian circles would be the Lost Dogs and maybe Stavesaker. And so he has 2 questions. First, are there other supergroups? And 2, if you could form a Christian supergroup, who would be in it? So let's start first. Other supergroups. What are other... First, like, I don't think I considered Stavesaker to be a supergroup. Do you have any info on that one?
Not really. I don't know. I think maybe it just depends on your like level of music. I think for me, a supergroup, you have to be established like in a band. Like people have to know you. Like TobyMac, it has to be established. Okay, TobyMac is Toby, and he is the singer in this one, and the guitarist in this band is like Tim Skipper or whatever. So it's like you have it established that these people are in it.
There's probably a few people yelling at us from their speakers right now because we don't know enough about the members of Stavesaker. I know Mark Solomon before Stavesaker was in The Crucified. And so I know he comes from something else.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I don't know anything about the other guys in Stavesaker, honestly. So, Chris, I'm going to have to apologize for that. And to all of our listeners that know more about Stavesaker than I do. I have a friend named Kyle who's a big Stavesaker fan who I think listens occasionally, so he might be mad at me too, but that's okay. So what are other supergroups that you can think of, Brandon?
So the 2 that come to mind is, first I thought of Glory Revealed. It was this like Christian, but you might remember the song By His Wounds. So it featured Mac Powell, Stephen Chris Chapman, Brian Luttrell, and Mark Hall. But upon looking at it, it was actually, this was more of just an album of a bunch of different artists. So it wasn't them singing everything together. So I think Neon Horse is probably the one that comes to my mind. And I didn't even know it at the time. It was something that I heard them then afterwards started discovering all of the people in it. And that's got Mark Solomon, Jason Martin, Stephen Dell. I think that checks the box because it is all people who are known from other bands.
Yeah.
And I almost think, too, you need to be doing something, like, different. And I think that, like, Neon Horse is different enough to where you can get, like, oh, okay, that's, like, Starflyer 59 guitar riffs, or whatever. But it's this concept thing of here's this character, like that has shown up to sing all of these things and tell you his stories. So
yeah, I feel like probably Jason Martin is a frequent contributor to a lot of different of these kinds of bands that show up, bands from guys from other bands. Like if you have one of those, there's like probably a 70% chance that Jason Martin's in it for whatever reason. So that's kind of a fun thing. Yeah, the one that I was thinking of would be, I guess, I don't know if it's Steve Taylor's current band, but for a little while recently, he had his like Steve Taylor and the Perfect Foil, and then like Steve Taylor and the Danielson Foil.
Yeah.
And I think I would consider both of those like super groups. I mean, the Perfect Foil, you've got one, Steve Taylor, who is kind of in a lot of ways like I don't know what you would consider him, the like crazy uncle of Christian music. But such an influential guy in the whole scene. I mean, he ran one of the biggest Christian labels for a while that probably like was putting out more records than like any other Christian label for a while, Squint. But so you've got Steve Taylor, and then the drummer of the Perfect Foil is Peter Furler from the Newsboys. Like that's a big name.
Yeah.
And then the bass player is John Mark Painter. I'm not sure how familiar you are with him, but he and his wife had a band called Fleming and John, which was a huge, I mean, I loved them so much. Probably my favorite like husband and wife duo ever. And they only put out 2 records, but they're both just perfect albums. They're phenomenal. And I think he produced and wrote a lot on like Jesus Freak by DC Talk. Like he's just like up there pretty significantly. And then guitarist is Jimmy A. And so I feel like definitely Steve Taylor and the Perfect Foil is like that's a super group. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and then you add Danielson into the mix and things just get crazy.
I agree with that too.
Can't wait to talk about Danielson more sometime. That'll be fun. So, yeah, pretty cool. So I think that those are ones that we've like noticed that are out there. But what if you could form the perfect Christian supergroup? Like, who would you put together?
I think to make it simplified, I'm gonna go with singer, guitar, and drums.
Not bass player?
Just to simplify it.
Okay.
Just for sake of time too, because we're about to talk about 27 tracks.
27.
I think guitar, I'm going Chapstick from Family Force 5.
Okay.
I was talking yesterday about him, and he used to do this thing where it was really cool, but even like live, he'd like lick his guitar, and I feel like I need that in the band I'm doing.
Okay.
Drums, man, who am I going to put on drums? Let's see. I'm trying to think. I think his name's like Brian Haley or something of TobyMac's band. I'm gonna put him on drums. Because I'm trying not to double up on people. Brian Ramey. I'm going to put him on drums. And then for vocalist, I'm going to have a mixture. I'm going to have Tim Skipper and I'm going to have Aaron Wise. So I'm going to have Tim handle like a lot of just your like regular singing. And I'm going to have Aaron come in and scream or whisper, just do that kind of stuff. And I think that they're going to produce some pretty good storytelling music between the four of them.
Man, yeah, that's a pretty good, strong team. So it's hard for me to argue with that. And you even stole like some that I was gonna run
Chapstick.
with. No, but I was gonna pull Tim Skipper in. Yeah, just because I love his voice so much.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna do that. Because I want to be like faithful to doing my own supergroup here. So this is just totally off the top of my head. Drummer, Darren King, who was the drummer for Mute Math, one of the best drummers that I've ever seen, and just insane and crazy and does like ridiculous stuff. So 100% him. Bass player, I'm going old school, Sixpence None the Richer, This Beautiful Mess era. JJ, I think it's like Palasois. Crazy good bass player. So we'll throw a JJ in there. Guitarist, man, that's a tough one. Guitarist is a really tough one for me. I don't feel like guitars have been like a strong suit in a lot of Christian bands. There's some well, I'll just go like way back and pull in a classic, Phil Keaggy to come in, just because there's pretty much never been a guitar player like Phil Keaggy. So we'll put Phil Keaggy in there. This band would probably not work at all together. Vocals, since I can't have Tim Skipper, I'm going to go with Joel Hansen from PFR.
Okay.
Just because he's fantastic. And then songwriter, the guy writing the lyrics would be Rich Mullins. The guy writing the songs would be Rich Mullins. So, yeah, that would be stupid. Like, it wouldn't work, but that's what I've got.
No, I like that. I think that's man, I think sometimes it's almost difficult when everything works well in a band. And there's other bands where you're like, oh man, the lyrics are amazing, but if you like music, don't listen to this band.
Yeah.
Or like vice versa. I'll be like, oh, it's really good guitar, but what are they saying? That's a really good question.
Yeah, that was fun to talk about. We'd love to hear who you would put together in a Christian supergroup. And so if you have your own ideas, maybe we'll put like a post out on social media after this episode drops and let people give us their thoughts. That would be really interesting to fun. But if you have your own questions or comments, you can email us at heyareyoullisteningpod@gmail.com, and we would love to be able to talk about them on the air. Let's talk about what's in the news.
What's in the news? What's in the news?
There's been some sad news in the world of Christian music as of the week that we recorded this, Brandon. And that's that Justin Carey, who was the current bass player of Sixpence None the Richer, been playing bass for Sixpence for a really long time. I think ever since their self-titled album came out on Squint. Just passed away at the age of 50 from a stroke. And I don't think anybody was expecting that. Yeah, did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that, and I was like, man, that's tough.
I know we just saw him last year.
Yeah.
When we got to see them play, and it's like really sad for me because I feel like they're like gaining momentum back as a band and touring a lot and recording music again, and so this is just kind of like a blow to them in a lot of ways. And I know that he is a dear friend, and a really solid bass player. And so it's just that was really tough news to kind of get, but we can definitely be praying for his family and all of them as they kind of navigate that and walk through
I
it.
agree.
But, yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we've been listening to lately. Brandon, what's something that you've been spending time listening to?
I discovered this band called Little Image, and I saw they were mentioned on, I think it might have been Radio. Yeah, I think it was Radio U. They mentioned them, and yeah, it's really good. I don't really know how to describe them. Maybe almost like I want to say like Cage the Elephant, but it's not. Like maybe, I don't know. That's not really a good comparison. I feel like it's just erase that and go check out. They have, I think it's off of this release from earlier this year called The Pressure. But yeah, their album artwork, it's a rabbit with a glowing eye. So it's pretty creepy album artwork. Simple but creepy.
I'm looking it up right now just because I like the name of the band, Little Image.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying their music, and yeah, I'd recommend checking them out.
I'm gonna add it. Can't wait to check that out. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think they're explicit Christian band, so I need that disclaimer out there in case I just have a random song that's just a lot of cussing on it. I haven't listened to everything, so I hope that one of their albums not like,
Gotcha.
you know,
Okay, good to know.
kick the man next door or something.
I'll check that out. We'll see how it's going. For me, something I've been listening to, honestly, just the last few days. I think it came out last Friday, but the Figs, who have famously collaborated with Forrest Frank on his song Lemonade, came out with a new album called How Did We Get Here? And it's really good. I'm a big fan. They're not at all what you would think a collaborator with Forrest Frank would sound like. They're very folky, like Americana.
Yeah.
I know I've mentioned them on here before because my youngest daughter is pretty into them, but I really like this new record. It's cool, and it's got a lot of maturity to it, and yeah, I'm digging it so far. So that's one that I would recommend.
That's pretty cool.
All right, it's time to talk about TobyMac, and so I can read a quick little blurb about this record. And then maybe you and I can both kind of talk about our history with TobyMac.
Okay.
As an artist. So, released on October 5th, 2004, Welcome to Diverse City marked the second solo studio album from TobyMac and expanded the genre-blending approach he began on Momentum. Produced by TobyMac alongside Ted T, Max Zhu, and Robert Marvin, and I think some other people. The album fused hip-hop, rock, funk, reggae, and pop into a colorful musical landscape that reflected the project's central theme of diversity and unity. Recorded primarily in Tennessee and Oregon, the album featured a wide range of guest artists, including Bootsy Collins, Coffee from Grits, Papa San, T-Bone, Super Chick, and even reunion appearance from Toby's former bandmates in DC Talk on the closing remix of Atmosphere. Released through Forefront Records, the album debuted in 2004 and became one of TobyMac's defining early solo projects, producing fan favorites like Gone, The Slam, and Burn For You. Its energetic production, crossover appeal, and message of bringing different people and musical styles together helped establish the diverse city identity that would become a recurring theme throughout TobyMac's career. That was a lot.
There it is.
All right. Brandon, talk to me about your history with TobyMac.
So this is a really special album. So my whole experience with, I wouldn't even say just Christian music. I'd say music in general was my mom. We started listening to like our local Christian station, and she bought Wow Hits 2005. And every morning, like we'd wake up, and there's like always two sides of it. So the one side had more of the Mercy Me, Casting Crowns, but side two would have like Jeremy Camp, Stacy, Orico, and TobyMac's Gone. And I remember just thinking one day, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy his album. I'm going to do that. And we went to Walmart, and it just happened to be there. And this is like 2006 probably.
Yeah.
And so we go, and it's there, and I buy it, and I come home, and what was funny is at the time, I only knew rap music as like cussing or talking about women. So as soon as he started rapping, I was like, oh no, I didn't know that's who this guy was. And so I was like, I need to look at these lyrics before I play this around my mom. And but it was just the doorway to like just sinking into music and finding like my sound and diving into Christian music. And it's like it just kind of started all those little like roots in the ground of, oh man, I want to find artists that like they're just them. Like TobyMac, you can't say, oh yeah, like TobyMac's just like this guy, or it's like Toby's just Toby. And I think that there's a lot of bands that like I kind of gravitated like more indie like rock than like what Toby is. But even today, like the bands I love are bands that I'm not like, oh, if you know this band, then you know this band. It's like, no, House of Heroes is House of Heroes. Me Without You is Me Without You. And that all started from this album.
Yeah. That's cool. So I think my like, even though, so I'll say this off the top. I don't have a lot of experience with TobyMac as a solo artist. But I was a huge DC Talk fan back in the day. And part of that is just our age difference. So when I was growing up, one of the first cassettes that I ever bought, back when you bought cassettes, was the album New Thing by DC Talk. And man, I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard in my life back in middle school. The fact that there was Christian rap and it wasn't like bad, but it was decent. Well, decent Christian talk. Was like was cool. And so I got super into it, and I went back and picked up their first record, which wasn't nearly as good. But then I carried on, and when I was in high school or late middle school, I think Free at Last came out, and Free at Last just was hugely revolutionary for me because it started making this jump from just like Christian rap to like this rap rock kind of thing that DC Talk kind of became known for. And it was this like perfect like hybrid, I felt like, of the two things. And I remember back in the day, like I remember reading a Rolling Stone review of Free at Last, and they were like, this is one of the most innovative things that we've like ever heard, because nobody was blending rap and rock like that back then. It became a very popular thing after this, but they were honestly one of the first to do something like this, and they did it really, really well. And so I was very into that. And then of course Jesus Freak came out and had them leaning away from the rap, more towards rock, at a time that I was leaning away from rap, more towards rock. And so it kind of fit perfectly with where I was going at the time. And so I felt like there was a long period of my life where I was very locked in to what Toby was doing with DC Talk. But by the time the 2000s hit, by the time his first solo record came out, I was already out of college. And I think like in my own indie band, and I was like way too cool at that point in time to like listen to TobyMac. Like I'm listening to all these random niche artists that I can't be listening to TobyMac. And so I never had the opportunity to like spend time with his solo stuff really. And so I was I was honestly excited. This is the first time I've ever listened to this record. Was listening to it in preparation of this, and lately, like my kids have been like listening to and singing TobyMac songs, which is fun. And so it's like a new day and a new opportunity for me to give a listening ear over to Toby again. So it's kind of fun.
I just like to point out that most of the time when we do this, it's the opposite, where you're like, man, I've listened to this hundreds of times. And I'm like, I've listened to it like once, maybe twice. And so I think it's interesting going into this and it being the opposite, where this is something that, like, the opinions I have are ones that for the past, like 20 years have been formed. Whereas
Right.
for you, it's like, I listened to this once, and I think that, I think there's some stuff that, and I don't want to speak for whenever it's vice versa, but I
Right.
think that there's songs that almost like it can get overlooked because you just love that song so much. So it's kind of like, it's not the best song, but man, this song just means a lot to me. And I think that if you don't know the band, like, there's tons of stuff I listen to, and I think, man, I feel like if I was back then, I would get the significance. But for me, I'm like, yeah, people have been doing this for 30 years. And you're like, yeah, Brandon, but this came out 35 years ago. Like that's the difference. And,
Right.
Amy Grant or whoever. So I just think it's exciting getting to be on the opposite
Be
side
on the other
that.
end of the
Yeah.
table. Yeah. Yeah. This will be a very fresh look at this, fresh eyes for me looking at this record. So, all right. Well, you ready to get into it?
I am.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Welcome to Diverse City. And we'll do track one. Hey now, Brandon, tell me about this. This is when you put this in for the first time after you bought it, this is the first thing that you heard.
And for 15 years, it was a skip track. I was like, man, this is not what I signed up for. I think when I first listened to it, I was just like, I want songs that follow like a rule list. But I think now I enjoy it, and I think that it's a reoccurring theme. But I think that this whole album is like celebration. If I describe it in one word, it's that. And I think this already starts it off with we're gonna have fun. You're gonna have people popping in and out, and like. I find myself enjoying the song now because I'm like, it's not bad. It's not thrown together. Like I really enjoyed like the breakdown or like the bridge portion they have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, this is a song that listening to it now, I found myself being like, oh, okay. Like I'm excited for what's coming next.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. This was one of my favorite songs on the record.
Oh, okay.
And again, didn't know what to expect, but I love what you're talking about. Like just the celebration feel. Like let's get some friends together and just enjoy some time together, putting some songs.
Yeah.
And I love it. I thought it's peppy. I think the bass is really cool. I like that there's like it's like gang vocal, like almost choir kind of that's there.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of you feel like you're part of something. And I think that's cool. I noticed like right off the bat, like in this song, I'm going to have a hard time keeping up with all of the guests that are on this record.
Yeah.
Like, so many people. And I made note of a lot of them as I was going, but I couldn't like keep up with it all. But I think that one of the guys from Grits is on this song.
Yeah.
And Grits is like a group that I enjoyed a lot when I was in high school. They had like a really different kind of take on like rap at the time.
Yeah.
Kind of a little more jazzy. I think they were on Goatee.
Yeah.
But I really like them. So it's fun to see them show up here. I did, though, one of my notes from that I wrote down at the end of this and you're probably not going to be surprised by this, is that I wrote down that it feels overproduced, which is
Well, welcome to diversity.
not a surprise for a TobyMac record for me, but it just almost sounded like a little too like for what it was doing, like a little too polished in my ears.
Yeah.
Like I could have used a little more raw,
I
but
gotcha.
but I loved it. I thought it was a great song. So
Move on to Catch a Fire. Joel, what do you think about this?
so this one's not my favorite song on the record.
What is funny is there is a track on here that I wrote down. I'm guessing this is your like favorite one. And so I'm curious for whenever
Okay.
you do say, yep, this is my top track. So
Okay. Yeah. That'll be interesting to see for sure. This one just didn't connect with me. Honestly, the drum beat felt the same on this song as it did on the first song. And I even like went back and forth between the two of them to try and distinguish. And I'm like, that's like almost the same beat that's happening. And so they kind of lost me there. And then when the chorus hit in, I'm like, is this Family Force 5? And then I realized, oh, this is Family Force 5. And you know my feelings about Family Force 5. And
Yeah.
so it just wasn't like, it wasn't my thing. It felt like Toby trying a little bit to be like POD, like rapcore or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, I didn't love this one as much as I loved the first track.
I think as a Toby fan, that is a way I describe his albums, is that every album is like, if it, you're going to have like a rock, a rap, a pop, something that's maybe like horns or like reggae or something. And then you're going to have like half the album reflecting whatever is like popular at the time.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times that also is kind of like, depending on who you are, that's the Toby album you're going to love.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it's going to be like, if you love electronic, it's this one. If you enjoy pop, it's this one or whatever. For me, I enjoy it. I like the scream in it. And I think that Toby's kind of moved away from this, as he gets older, which I mean, I feel like it probably makes sense because some people is like, you don't want to see someone who's like 60 years old being like, you guys ready to party? And there's bands that do that. And I feel like it's super cringy.
Toby is like 60 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy like the slowdown and then like the pickup with like the rap. I think it goes both ways. It's either like there's a ton happening, or it's like, oh, it feels like you're watching a car chase. And I mean, I think that there's two sides of it. There's either like why is all this happening, or it's like, oh man, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's I agree with your observation. I think I just take it into like, oh, for me it was, oh, this is fun. But I mean, once again, it goes back to Family Force 5. Like, I feel like the songs you really loved were the songs that I was like, they should remove these. And then the other ones. So yeah. So
I feel like that makes sense. So track 3 is The Slam. What do you think about The Slam?
I was most afraid of this one being like super like cheesy. And
Okay.
I was like, oh, I don't want to have to like talk about this one. But like after listening to it, like I really liked it a lot. And I think if you just listen to the first like 25 seconds of it, it can come across as like cheesy. But I think when you put it all into context, I think even like lyrically, like it's pretty strong. What's going on in it? I even like looked it up afterwards, and I never taken the time to read oh man, I'm blanking on the guy's name that like is featured on this one. T-Bone. But just like the part where he's like for Latinos and blacks packing them straps and Caucasians hooked on ecstasy and the crack. And I'm just like, that's like, oh, I didn't know that was like, I don't know. Like I remember other albums being removed from Family Christian because they have, it's like, oh, we don't like this because we don't know what you're doing with the American flag on this one, or something. Like, it's just a weird, like, like if it's at all questionable, we need to remove this. And I think that was just cool. Like, there's a lot more depth to the song than I like remembered growing up.
Yeah.
So.
You might be surprised to know this, but I think the second CD that I ever bought was T-Bone's album called Redeemed Hoodlum.
Never would have guessed that, Joel.
And I loved it. It was unlike anything that I'd ever heard at the time. And this like kind of Hispanic rap thing. And T-Bone is like so fast with his words that my friend John Paul and I used to sit back and listen to it, and T-Bone be like rapping about capping demons with his 9 and like but it's just so entertaining. And so for me, when I saw T-Bone is showing up on this track, I'm like, that's so fun. But yeah, I like this. I actually, I'm with you, like I liked the lyrics. I liked how the gospel was really present there in the midst of all of it. And yeah, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of like a DC Talk mixed with like a little bit of like POD. And I'm like, I feel like the interesting thing for me listening to this record is every song I'm like, is this the TobyMac sound? Is this the TobyMac sound?
Yeah.
I'm like trying to figure out what is the TobyMac sound. But I asked that question here too, just because every track's felt different. So pretty significantly different so far. But yeah, I thought this one was pretty fun.
That's cool. We move on to the first like interlude, poetically, is it incorrect?
Poetically correct.
Okay, I thought that my spell check had auto-corrected it to an incorrect answer. What do you think about the first interlude?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because I've listened to DC Talk records, and so there's always things like this on here. But this one's not as random and more purposeful. It's got a point. It's kind of like about a protest. I was wondering, like, who is this? Like, who's doing this track? And then I'm like, do I need to rank this? Like when I do my rankings for the record, and I decided not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like it just kind of gave me more questions than answers. So
I love this. And I think that a lot of records now, they don't do this. And I think it's such a wasted opportunity, because I get at the time people not doing it because they're like, man, we only have 65 minutes to fit on this disc.
Yeah.
But I'm like, now, like John Van Dusen, like he releases 30 song, like CDs or whatever. And I think that you just get to like
he's
either
got some interludes on there.
Yeah. Like you get to see the like peek at who the artist is, or you get to set up. Cause even on this one, like there's a few more that aren't even like to themselves. They're just like attached to the end of a song.
Yeah.
And it like sets up the next track.
Right.
So it's like, this is something that you're getting more out of it if you listen to the album in its entirety.
Yeah.
If you just listen to song by song, or, like out of context, there's going to be ones where you're like, I don't get. Or you're going to be like, man, this just jumps right in without having the setup on there. So I really, really enjoy the interludes on here.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. Track 5 is Atmosphere. Tell me about your thoughts there.
I think songs like this are such a departure from like Toby, like especially this era, just because at this point he was not the singer, and I think he was more of like, even in DC Talk, it's like, oh, he's the crazy guy that's, like rapping
He's
or
the
jumping.
rapper.
Yeah. So I think it's such a departure, but I think that it does well, and it's songs like this keep this from becoming like you put it earlier, like a Family Force 5, just like a very frantic album.
Yeah.
like I think it balances. It's kind of like going to a concert. It's like these are the opportunities where you get a chance to kind of like catch your breath and be like, oh, okay. And I think it also like highlights that Toby's not just the rapper. And I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead, but I remember this thing they put out called Faith and Fame. I don't know if you ever watched it, but they highlighted different people in like Christian music. And he talked a lot about how Gone was like, he was like, man, I finally got to say I can sing because I was never the singer. And this gave me the opportunity to be like, I can do that. Like I can handle all of this. I don't have to stay away and try to escape, from like what I want to do or whatever. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, it's chill. It's a different vibe than what we've gotten so far, but it felt to me like a DC Talk song. One of the more chill like songs that are on there. And I could hear Toby's voice like he's on a DC Talk record on this one. And so this is kind of like what I thought. I mean, I knew that there was a lot of energetic, like hype kind of stuff on a TobyMac record, but I felt like a lot of a TobyMac record would probably sound like this. And so
That's
maybe I'm
interesting.
wrong. I don't know. Yeah. But and then so we get to one of the heavy hitters of the record. Track 6 is Gone. So I have heard this song before. This isn't the first time that I've heard this one. And so I think for me, like I mean, this song just works really well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I'm guessing it was like the lead single from the record, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
It's got like a pop punk kind of feel to it, which is interesting for, I feel like, a TobyMac record, but I feel like would have fit really well on a DC Talk record, especially like probably Supernatural or something.
Yeah.
And I think it's the catchiest song yet on the record. And I think that out of all the tracks that I've heard so far, this is the one that feels like it would be worthy to be like a DC Talk song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like really well crafted.
Yeah.
Ready for the radio. Like, yeah, it's great.
It's so interesting just seeing like that perspective. Cause like for me, so I was a Toby fan. I bought Portable Sounds, and it wasn't until I think they either released it or we bought it, but it was like Wow Hits #1s. And I was like, oh, like who's DC Talk? And then like I listened to it and I was like, oh, okay, this is just like different. So it was weird because it was the opposite, where it's kind of like, okay, well, this doesn't really sound like Toby. Like this is different. And so I just think it's interesting for you kind of seeing like, oh, okay, this is familiar. Like I'm familiar with this.
I'm seeing
like,
Toby through the lens of DC Talk. Yeah.
So like I said earlier, this was the song that kind of just started that whole journey off of that Wow Hits album. Once again, shout out to compilation albums. And what's funny is my notes, it like auto corrected stuff, and so my notes has, after almost 20 years, this don't still is great. I don't know if I agree with the note that whatever I was thinking when I wrote that. But yeah, I think after almost 20 years, like this is still a song like I love. And I think, it can be something where nostalgia steps in or whatever. But I think for me, it says a lot when there's a song that you've listened to for 20 years and you're still not like, this is boring or whatever. Yeah. And, I think I'd put this in top 3 of this album. And I think that, if I compiled a list of my top 100 songs, I know that song's going to be on there. Like I'd put that up against a lot of songs I love from a lot of bands that I love, even today.
Real quick, off the top of your head, Gone by TobyMac versus Gone by Switchfoot.
Oh, Gone by TobyMac.
I still don't think I would agree with you on that.
Gone by Switchfoot. I don't know if that's top 200.
That's one of my favorite Switchfoot songs. So
I said that just to start stuff. But no, I feel like that was like 17-year-old Brandon being like, who cares about Switchfoot? Do you understand? That's the same Brandon that was like, we get it, Lecrae sings, but guess what? John Rubin, like that's just like the mama bear Brandon being like, I gotta protect these artists out there.
That's
If I
funny.
don't, who will?
No, I'm with you. This is a great song, and it's definitely up there as one of my favorites on the record. I love it. Yeah, I think it works super well.
Next, we move to True Dog. I'm trying to think of what the title of
True
it was.
Dog, The Return.
What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean,
You sound really excited.
well, I just feel like this has like a heaviness to it. Because I think of the story, like going and listening to it. I immediately probably realized this is his son, Truett. And so, as a dad myself, I'm probably about I don't know. No, I'm just imagining Toby as a dad listening to this track through like his ears and his heart now. And I just, even though it has like a cute lightness to it, like it just felt like a heavy weight to it, because of the loss of his son. And so, I had a hard time, like even in like thinking about it, as just a track, because I feel like of just kind of the weight of the story and everything. So
I wrote in here that I think context is so interesting, which I didn't even think about that way. I just thought of like, if you didn't know, like that was his like, kid or whatever. Which I think at the end on this one, he says like Dad, when am I getting paid or whatever?
Yeah, he does.
I always thought it was cool growing up because Truett shows up all the way, I think, to This Is Not a Test, which at that point, some people are like, oh, okay, yeah, once you start driving, you can't really appear as like the the kid on there or whatever. I think it's a cool surprise, and once again, it's just something that like doesn't have to be on there, but I don't know, it makes me wonder like what was the story behind Toby being like, because I think when he was on the first album, I want to say he's just like a toddler, like he was super young.
Yeah.
On it, but yeah, I thought it was interesting. Next up, we have Diversity. What do you think about Diversity, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously this song is sort of the title track of the record, and a little bit the foundation of like TobyMac's solo career moving forward with this like whole diversity thing. And so I feel like the message of this song is so good, just kind of the kingdom of God, diversity. And I mean, this is something that DC Talk spent a lot of time talking about. And so it's natural that it transitions over into TobyMac's career. And so I love the message of it. But honestly, the music, I was just kind of like, like it as a song. I love the lyrics, but it just didn't really hit me super. Yeah.
As a kid, I paid $3 to have this as my ringtone growing up. So I just had, it was like 10 seconds. So it was like, welcome to diversity. And then we'll do, and then welcome to, and I just, in like, gosh, that would have been, I don't know, like 11th grade. And I just remember being like, man, when someone calls me, everyone's going to be like, who's the cool guy here? But it was off of that, like, I think it was like a ringtone jukebox.
Right.
So I remember it sounding like someone like was standing 30 feet away from like a
Recording it on a cassette player.
and just in between there's like 10 feet of aluminum foil and a dog howling. But yeah, I like it. I really like the funness, and I think it was a great way to celebrate, versus with TobyMac's Momentum, that album's a lot heavier, and I think it's a lot more kind of combating like this is like like just almost like angry and upset that like this stuff is happening. Whereas I feel like this one is more of, it's like celebrating, like, like we're for everyone, like any walk of life, you like come on board with us. Like, so I think that it's fun just to have that celebration versus, you know, like maybe having that other tone, where it's not really the celebration or whatever.
What did you think about track 9, Stories, down to the bottom?
So this is a track that I loved now and I loved back then.
Yeah.
I was a big Super Chick fan. And I think too, this is one that there's a lot going on. There's like a big heaviness going on.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time when I was a kid listening, and this track where he talks about how like he's upset with like the pain that like God's brought. And I remember being like, oh, you shouldn't say that out loud. Like God might hear you if you say that. But I think this is a track. This is a CD you could give to someone who like is struggling, and you don't have to worry about them just being like, nope, like whatever's happening, just put on a smile. Like, so you have like this, these like deep things that's working through, where it's like divorce and cancer and just feeling at the bottom. But then you have this like thing where it like picks up and it's like this party, almost dance thing at the end.
Yeah.
And then you have at the end the like little like outro where it's like the guy just playing on the street and the dad being like, oh no, that guy, he's a bum or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, man, there's a lot going on with it.
Yeah, I liked that we're kind of getting different stories from different people, and there's different voices on this track. Just a lot of different contexts and a lot of different stories of life. And so I feel like, it's pointing to like homelessness and all different kinds of issues and things that are happening. And I thought that it did it in a fun way, that while it's dealing with some heaviness, like you said, about the last track, there's still like a celebration just of life and the stories that we've walked through. And I think that's something that I feel like Toby does really well. And I think this song captures that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Next up we have Getaway Car. Joel, did you find this to be a nice drive?
I wasn't driving when I was listening to it. Maybe I should. I like this. I like the groove a lot, and I really like the horns. I feel like this is like, this is a kind of TobyMac that I would be like, I want to listen to more of this. I feel like it fits really well with what he does and who he is. And I think the chorus is really good and catchy, and I like the bridge. There's this vocal rise and fall thing that happens. But yeah, I really like this one.
I couldn't really get into this song. The more you went on, I was like, oh, it would be this song that Joel loves. I think it's fun. I think it's just like it's a song that this is gonna sound really funny since these other ones I'm like, Catch a Fire is that nice sweet spot of being out there. I think for whatever with this one, I don't know if it's just like his voice on it or what, or if it's like the lyrics or what, but it was a song that like back in the day, I was just kind of like, like, oh, okay. And I don't know if maybe it's like it's squeezed in between two more serious songs. So maybe that's it. Maybe it comes across as a little more like silly because it's in between those. So it's not like you have this like, man, we're coming off the serious thing, but now like, okay, we're having fun. It's serious. It's like, man, people are like dying of cancer and I'm mad at God, to I'm gonna get in my car and drive away, to okay, we're serious again. Like it's maybe it suffers from that. Like, I think if I heard this on like a a road trip playlist, I think maybe I enjoy a little bit more because it's just like, okay, a little fun song playing. But I think in the context of the album, I think it's like the first track on here that's been kind of like oh, okay, like it's there for me.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on this track. But yeah, I thought it was fun. Well, you mentioned what it's sandwiched in between. So talk to me about track 11, "Burn for You."
I think "Burn for You" is an album highlight. I think it's maybe, I would say definitely top 4, maybe top 3 my favorite songs on this album.
Okay.
Like I love the guitar from it. And I don't know if it's one of the guys from Grits that's like makes an appearance in it or not, because I think even in the notes I didn't see it mentioned. But like even just like that rap verse, and I just think there's a lot of like emotion behind it, and I like the first time I heard this song, just at the beginning, the do 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 do, I was like, man, this is cool. And even now, like it's a song that I'm like, there's nothing about, like if someone was like TobyMac's just very like silly or cheesy, I feel like this is a track that I would throw and say there's nothing about this that for me is like cheesy, or I'm like, that's kind of like cringy or whatever. I'm like, man, I think everything about like the music, the lyrics, everything about this works.
Is this the one that you thought was going to be my favorite song? Okay.
Is it your favorite song?
No, but I liked it. Yeah, I like the vibe. I wrote down, it's got a rock vibe, but it's not annoying. Maybe like Catch a Fire.
That's one of those reviews you see that they slap on the front of the album.
I think the groove of the whole thing is really good, and I like the feel of it. I get why this is one of the like bigger songs or singles from the record. And I really like at the end, like when the guitars actually, there's like layers of guitars that are happening throughout the whole song, but they're a little more subtle. But at the end, they're a lot more like in your face, but in a way that works really well with the song. And I really liked what they did there. So I think it's really a good one.
I think this also just kicks off. I think that sometimes some of the like kind of just their tracks are at the end, but I feel like this song kicks off like a run to the finish that I think is a great like second or last third of the album.
Yeah.
Next we get another interlude in Fresher Than a Night at the W. What do you think about this one?
I'm scared to talk about this one because my notes don't make sense to me now. And so I'm trying to remember with all of these tracks what was going on here. I wrote that it was short. Yeah. You tell me, and then maybe I'll be able to comment on it.
Man, I used to love like rapping this, and I'm not going to do that on here.
Okay. I mean, we would all be honored if you did.
I used to like, I think this is such a fun track. And yeah, I think it's cool because it's like fun, but it's got this serious note, and like it feeds into like LMI, but it's the one that was like, do, 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 do. Hey, yo, it's me, TobyMac. Like it's that one, if that refreshes your memory.
Okay.
If you wrote down like, man, this is the pinnacle of music, maybe that's what you wrote down. I don't know.
No, here's what I wrote down.
I
wrote down, I know a black guy. And that's why I'm like, what was the
that
context
says like,
for that? But yeah.
I know a guy who knows a guy who has brown skin.
Yeah.
Once in a while, it just so happens I'm around him.
Yeah, and it's that idea of like, no, I'm not a racist. Like I have a friend who's black or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
All right. We move to LMI next. What do you thoughts about this track, Joel?
All right, LMI. This is a cover song.
I think it's like the only cover Toby's ever done.
Yeah.
Or at least a couple years ago, he had mentioned, he was like, this is the only cover I've ever done.
Had you ever listened to Soul Junk before?
Not till today.
Really?
I had never even gone back and listened to it like, whenever I found it back in the day.
So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Soul Junk was on 5 Minute Walk, at least
Okay.
for a little while. And so I got exposed to a lot of their music there through like 5 Minute Walk samplers and different things.
So
But
did you know this song going into it?
I did not know the song. No, I don't think so. But I really liked this one a lot. It's got such a fun like vibe to it. Ilamai, tried to look into as much of it as I can. It's this idea of like broken MI. It's like against like a pharisaical attitude that someone thinks they have it all together, and it's just this reminder that we're all broken, and we're all trying to navigate this whole thing together. And so I thought this one was super fun, and I really enjoyed it and the vibe of it a lot. Yeah.
I think this might be my favorite song in this whole album.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite TobyMac songs, like, period.
Yeah.
I just like it's so chaotic, and it's just so like everywhere. And I go back to this album shaped so much of who I would like end up like becoming, and I felt like this was just, I was like, man, this is just Toby. Like this is his own rules. Like he's doing what he wants. And, I think like even now, like, I just think this is such a like fun song. It's so frantic. It's so all over the place, but it works well.
Yeah.
And I think even today, going back and listening to the original, I'm like, I appreciate this more because I can see where he took elements. So, and I think that's like with a cover, it's like you make it your own, but you also give those little nods to like the song.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's just so cool that he incorporated that. And so I love this track.
Yeah. I think we're on the same page. This is like a top 3 on this record for me. It was a lot of fun. What about the next song, track 14, Phenomenon?
This was the one that I thought was going to be your favorite.
Okay.
But since you've talked a lot about DC Talk, I feel like now what did they talk about where it's like it's like, okay, the bets are closed or whatever. So it's like if the windows were still open, I'd run and I'd be like, I'm changing $5 on the remix. But I was like, I feel like this would be Joel's favorite track if I had to guess. I remember when I used to listen to it, I used to think it was super generic. So like, I don't know if that's an age thing or if that's just like when you listen to it, you just think,
You're saying that I like generic music.
Yeah, that's what I. So I mean, like you might can speak to this in your review, but so it's like I don't know if it's like an age thing or if it's like the first time you listen through it, you just think, okay, it's just Toby being like, gotta do a rock song and I gotta feature guitar on something. But I think that like I like it more now, just because I feel like they're like it's not just there, like it isn't just generic. Like I think it's like his own take on it. I think that maybe you could argue like it doesn't fit on here because it is just like different, because it is just like more like, I don't know, I guess when you mentioned like the Gone thing, almost like a pop punk. Like if you were gonna make a pop punk cover of a song on here, this one probably would be the easiest one for Grace Graber to come along and like remake or whatever. But
yeah, so I don't think this is my favorite track on the record, but I like it, and there's a few reasons why. The first thing I wrote down was interesting. It's got like a reggae vibe that transitions into a rock vibe.
yeah,
And I immediately thought this was going to be one you were going to connect with because you're like I think you like 21 Pilots. So this is like a 21 Pilots vibe for me in like a lot of ways. And then I found out that the guest star on this one is Paul Meany, who's the lead singer of Mute Math, then probably then Mute Math, earlier Earthsuit, who is a producer for 21 Pilots now. And this very much fits in the vibe of music that he makes. And
Yeah.
so all those pieces kind of came together for me at that point when I thought about that and felt like, oh, that's really cool that Paul Meany is on here because he's not a rapper.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of a different kind of guest than all the other ones that are like falling in on this record. And also just kind of like the idea of like the like voicemails on this.
Yeah.
I thought were kind of fun. So
Next up we have Gotta Go. Joel, what'd you think about Gotta Go?
I like this. I like the little kind of like jazzy piano intro that's like happening on it. Just the stress of like life and touring and being in an artist and the weight of all that while wanting to give glory to God. And the voicemails that kind of led into like this track of just kind of like, man, there's just like so much pressure.
Yeah.
And I think we can all relate to like a pressure like that. And so I feel like in a lot of ways, this is kind of like even though there's a tendency for normal people to look at a successful artist who's saying, oh, my life is so hard as a successful artist and be like, come on. But I get it. And I think it's an everyman kind of thing to just try and walk through the pressures of life. And for Christians, at least, to want to like be able to navigate that and bring glory to God in the midst of all of it. So yeah, I like them. I like the thought and the idea and the message behind it.
So the one part in it, when I first like heard this, I was like, oh, okay, like it's a fun song. But then like a few years down the line, I listened to it back and the song where it goes, like, what you doing? Same as yesterday. I'm here with John Rubin.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. He mentioned John. So like, it was cool. Like at the time, like I hadn't listened to any of his music. So it's kind of like, who is he talking about? And it is like, oh, it was a guy on his record label. And so like down the line, it was cool to go back and be like, oh, that was cool that he's mentioning. Yeah, I think that this song does a really good job of summing up the album as like a fun celebration. And I think it kind of bookends the album as, whereas Momentum was like, man, there's a lot of stuff we're upset about and we're working through. This is more of like, man, like it feels like life. Like it's, man, things like life, like we celebrate. Sometimes it's tough, but like at the end of the day, we've got like each other, and God loves us, or whatever. Like I think it just sums it up nicely.
That's cool. Tell me about the last track, Atmosphere. I know DC Talk guests on it, but it's a remix, and I don't know enough about this to know what it's a remix of.
So it's a remix of the other song, Atmosphere.
Okay.
That's on the album.
Wait. Okay. I'm sorry. That's so funny. That I didn't even notice that, but I guess that's what happens when you listen to something once and right down here.
I think that this is the biggest problem with the album that I have.
Okay.
And growing up, I didn't care about it, but now I'm just like, why is there like, hey, we already have this track, but now we're saying it's a remix, and we're like, that's really the only thing is I think you're mixing it. Like in the song, he says like, I'll leave the light on, like, baby, whereas Tate sings, I'll leave the light on for you. So it's like you're not really changing, like, I feel like the music, unless I'm misremembering. And it's not like it's a bonus edition. Like this was the regular edition,
right,
so it wasn't like hey, we released this as a single and then a year later we re-released it and we just added on this like single. So I feel like I don't know why you wouldn't just take out like Atmosphere and throw it on there.
Put it in as
But I mean, I think too, I want to say at the time that this was like the first time they had like reunited since
something
like on
together.
hiatus.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it was like, we're just going to make it feel special, or maybe it was a last minute. I don't really know.
It's a good question, and I wish that I had noticed.
Let me get
it was
Toby on the
same
phone.
song twice. But yeah, I'm with you that I feel like why not just release this version of it,
Yeah.
and maybe not have the other
Mm-hmm.
version of it, because it felt right when they're all together, and it's funny now that we're talking about it because I told you earlier this feels like a DC Talk song, and Toby's voice feels like Toby's
Yeah.
voice on a DC Talk song, and then here we are, and it works.
That's
just
why
like
earlier I
it's a DC
was
Talk
like,
song.
okay, is that what you're building towards? Is later on talking about it?
It reminded me of like a Just Between You and Me or something
Yeah.
like of that vibe. And so I don't have an answer for that either. I think that it's weird that they did that. So
Yeah.
I did rate it higher than the original version of Atmosphere. So there you go. This should be the one. Just
Yeah.
get rid of the other
Yeah.
one and put this one in. And
That's why Toby put it on there.
let Gotta Go in this thing.
Uh-huh.
It feels like it makes
There
the
you
most
go.
sense. So now that we fixed the record,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about
You're
our
welcome.
let's talk about our final thoughts.
Yeah. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
I don't probably have a ton to say. And that it was fun for me to get to listen to like my first proper TobyMac
Yeah.
solo record. There's probably going to be a lot of people like John Wilson yelling at me like, why have you never listened to a TobyMac album before?
I don't think we mentioned it too, but this was voted on by our fans too. We had
Yeah.
different choices, and this was the one that was selected. And I remember telling you like, "Oh man, Joel, I feel like I would have chosen the other one for you," but we're men of the people. So
Here we are. Absolutely. So no, I enjoyed getting to dig into this, and for me it's not like a well, I mean, I listened to it. I gave it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. I feel like I'm listening to this helps me gain an understanding for who TobyMac is as an artist. To understand, just like DC Talk, but
Yeah.
there's a variety of styles that are coming together in a record like this, which is probably something that was key to DC Talk because of him.
yeah.
And so I like getting to get a sense of that. Did it all work great for me? No, but a lot of it really did, and so I definitely enjoyed it. And I feel like for me, as I was listening to it, the thing that kept resonating with me is, oh, my kids would like this song. My kids would like this song. And so I'm going to have to, they already listen to Toby, but I'm going to have to continue to kind of expose them because I feel like this is stuff that they definitely would really enjoy. But yeah, for me, I'm going to give it a 3.3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. For me, it's an album that for 20 years has been relevant, and there's tracks on here that I used to not like that now I like, and I think that's a good sign because you don't want to be the opposite where it's like, used to love this, but now I skipped 13 of the tracks.
Yeah.
I think that if you just, it's like this is where I get into trouble, like on albums, because like I've told you before, I feel like it's hard for me to separate it. Like it's hard for me to sit there and say, if I give this a 5, do I think this is the best TobyMac album? Or it's like if I sit there and give another one a 5, like, like, so in my mind it's almost like, well, where's it rank amongst other ones or whatever. So it's difficult to give it a number, but I think that just because of like the getaway car and just like being frustrated, they caught me on a bad Monday with no one. The more I think of this Atmosphere thing, I think a 4.5 is where I land on there. I think that this is a really good album. It's an album that I wouldn't be embarrassed to play it around someone. Like I wouldn't, if I was at work, I wouldn't be afraid to play this and think it's gonna like scare someone away or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's really fair, coming from you and what I know of, like, yeah, just hearing what you talked about through this record. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, well, thanks, man, for like opening the door for this and saying like, I think it's time. I think we need to cover a TobyMac record, and then getting out, letting the people speak into it, I think is really fun too. So, yeah, I'm looking forward, honestly, to covering another one in the future, and getting kind of even a bigger picture of who he is as a solo artist. So this was a lot of fun for me. So, all right, so let's talk about our lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the It's time.
This is the point where I just start doing the fresher than that night, the W, like the whole thing. No, it comes from the Slam. It goes, so run like the wind from the sin of your past. Keep your eyes on the prize when they put you on blast. It's the Christ on the cross. It's humanity shot. It's a worldwide call to everything that we're not.
It's good. Yeah, I like that. I love the lyrics on that one. I think it's really strong. Well, Brandon, thank you again for bringing the idea of this. It's been fun to dig into, and we're of course thankful to you guys for joining us this week. And we would love it if you want to share this out as it comes out and let other people get exposed to it as well. You can follow us on social media. Join us for the conversation of who you think the best Christian supergroup would be. And we're grateful that you take time to listen every week to our ideas that aren't always great and get mad or give us grace when we don't know as much about certain things as we should. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Hey, are you listening? This ain't no quiet